Okay, so as you go to shade your artwork, keep in mind that more than likely you want to be drawing from the actual still life, or I would prefer that you used your Chromebook to look at the details on the photo that we took. If you have a printout, it tends to flatten out or lose some of the darker values, so you can barely make out the flowers that I have on this left side. It will look much better on your Chromebook, but because I can't have that out and show on the screen right now, we're just going to use this photo as a reference. So when you're shading, the best thing to do is to start near the top, because that way you're not smudging your hand across it as you work. If you've kind of done it all over the place, because I've done so much of mine, you could always pick it up and rotate it. You can always work upside down. You can always flip the picture on your Chromebook to see what it looks like. You can obviously flip the actual artwork around as well. But I suggest that you do from the top down so you don't smear. If you're right-handed, you probably want to start on the left and move to the right. If you're a lefty, you probably want to start from the right and move to the left. Probably propping your hand up on your pinky rather than resting your hand across, so that you don't get a bunch of graphite on the edge of your hand. So when you're shading, what I suggest that you do is to think about the face as being three-dimensional and wanting to look at the direction. So like on these horns of this Impala, I can shade across like this, right? And then I can cross shade going across like this, and that's going to allow this to look 3D. Now I wouldn't want to draw this entire line going across as I go. Instead, I want to use short, close, overlapping marks. I want to use the right pencil for the job, so I want to make sure that I'm matching the values from my image as best as I can. I would use maybe a B pencil rather than an H pencil. If you're really struggling to get lighter values with your B pencil, remember that you can always adjust the position. I can make a much lighter line holding it far back. Then if I go up close, I'll put in some of the, you can see that here I'm not even doing a lot of pressure, but you can see that line that I just drew, just because of that change in the handle. But if I move it back a little bit farther, the same amount of pressure makes a much lighter line, right? If I want to make this look more 3D, I can shade with the contour and go across like this and then do it, right? When I compare it to the flowers are much darker, so I want to make sure that I use short, close overlapping marks there too, and I want to make sure that I am matching the value that I see. So I want to make sure that it's darker than what I see on the horn. Okay. Same sort of thing when you get across to the actual skull itself. It's white. It's going to have areas of white. So I don't want to put a lot of shading here. I want to look for subtle differences. So I can hold the pencil back far. Once again, I can shade with the contours, and I can kind of put in some of those slight variations that I see as I go across here. But I want to make sure that I'm shading with the direction. So like here, it slants up because it's the bridge of his nose. So I want to slant up, and then as I move it across here, I can go up and over, and then smooth it going up and down. So I'm cross shading to get subtle differences. I am going to get rid of these directional lines because they are not going to be there, right? And because I didn't press heavy, notice how they go clean away, right? So the last thing I might do is add like little details, little cracks, little crevices. And obviously if I've gone too light, I can always pull out my kneaded eraser and bring some of the light back if I need to, like maybe right through here, and pick it up. And then I can always go back in and adjust. But it's really important that I'm shading using the contours, noticing the directions in which it's bending to make it look as 3D as possible.